Okay, we are going. Hello, my name is Reverend Hope, and welcome to the second episode of the Astrologer Reacts series, where I react to and interpret the archetypal symbols and meanings within music. So today I'm really excited to share with you the song Personal Prometheus by the band Puscifer. A lot of P's there. I have some notes that I wrote down, um, but I kind of just want to go into it and feel it out a bit. So we're going to go right into it. Personal
Personal
Prometheus
Prometheus
by
by
Puscifer.
Puscifer.
Listen closely for the echo of your genesis. Your inception, your formation, your stigmata from Prometheus.
Okay, it's such an experience listening to this. There's so much, kind of like the Tool video, so much going back and forth between the ears, and this is very ambient. It's environmental. It's really setting a tone, a space. I almost didn't even want to pause it because it's really, really setting a scene here. But we've been introduced to our archetype, Prometheus. You know what? We're going to go through this and I'll read what I have or read parts from it and talk about it after. Let's go with the experience.
Tracks and traces, ring and replicate.
Okay. Wow. I don't think I've ever listened to that one with headphones on before, which is really sad because I've listened to that song for a good 2 or 3 years now. Wow. Okay. So, Personal Prometheus by Puscifer. It's a really interesting piece on the ears. It's not like your traditional music. I mean, it has its verses and its choruses, but the way that it's all orchestrated, the timings are a little weird. The soundscape is really tremendous, that there's so many different tones and things going on. Oh. So, okay, let's get into it. So, let's talk about Prometheus. So, Prometheus is probably a figure that most of you are familiar with. He's the Titan that stole the fire from the gods and gave it to the humans. But not only that, Prometheus was tasked by Zeus to create man. So, it's essentially the Greek creation myth. Prometheus really felt endeared by his creations and he preferred them over the gods, which made him want to give them something that I don't know if it was just to piss off the other gods or if he thought that it would really be a great thing for them to have this fire, this divine fire. So Prometheus tricks the gods, he distracts them by I think he shoots an arrow into the middle of their courtyard with a note that says, with a piece of fruit. I think it's a pear that says "for the most beautiful goddess," and that kind of gets all the goddesses around there, and they're like, "Well, who gets it?" And then the male gods are obviously going to be looking at the female squabble, and it's just like perfect distraction. So then Prometheus goes to the forge where the fire is, Hephaestus's forge, and he takes that fire and he brings it down to the humans. It gives them this divine spark, this light of creativity. And Zeus finds out and punishes Prometheus by chaining him to, I think it's called, let's see, it's Mount Caucasus. And every day an eagle will come to devour Prometheus's liver, and every day it will regenerate because Prometheus is, well, he's a titan. I don't know if he's a god, but anyway, He has these regenerative abilities, which is unfortunate for him. So that's his punishment. The story of Prometheus is also intertwined with the story of Chiron, so I'm going to mention that here too. Um, Prometheus is actually eventually freed because of a couple of different things. So first off, Hercules, as part of his 12 trials, kills the eagle that eats Prometheus's liver. But I think the reason why Prometheus is freed from his chains is because the centaur Chiron, in order to cure his incurable wound, the poison of the Hydra that has struck him, he offers himself. In some cases, it's to Hades, and in some cases, it's to Zeus. But regardless, he offers himself and his immortality in exchange for Prometheus. So we have this kind of combination of myths that talks about the human need for creativity, the love that we were given by Prometheus, by God, whatever, and the spark that was given to us, the gift that was given to us by the gods, and the ultimate freedom to express that gift and to heal by expressing that gift. So we have these kind of mixture of archetypes there. So we have the myth of Prometheus, and the song is called Personal Prometheus. I'll start with the verses. So in the first verse, he says, "Listen closely for the echo of your genesis, your inception, your formation, your stigmata from Prometheus." So again, talking about the creation myth itself. He says to listen closely because, as we'll discover, the rest of the theme of the song, Maynard and Corina, the singers, they talk about, it's almost like we've forgotten that we can't hear the voice of, or that we can't feel the divine spark anymore. But it's still there. So he says, listen closely because there are traces, there are echoes. Then he says, innuendos, tracks and traces, ring and replicate, like maps and legends, through and to you, and just follow all the way. So, again, emphasizing the fact that there are remnants of this divine spark. And not only that, but there are people out in this world who really engage with their creativity, with their divine will. Every act of selfless creation is an act of divine will. It's us being able to engage with that spark that's been given to us and to let it shine for other people. I think it's an incredible thing. So I think I want to read a little bit of what I wrote because I'm going to overlap a little bit, and I kind of want to keep it in kind of a specific order. But so we are constantly reminded of the sovereignty we were once given in subtle ways. Within us is the ability to create as we have been created. This is the stigmata, or the mark, from Prometheus. We have the map and the blueprint to become self-enlightened. But first, we need to remember that we are divine and that we are capable of enlightenment. This is a process and a calling, and the chorus. Oh, did I say this? I meant there. There is a process and a calling in the chorus to become like Prometheus. The flame of divinity that we have inside us is capable of freeing us from the overseer. The overseer is both external and internal limitations. It represents society's dictates and the inhibitions we whisper or scream to ourselves when we lay down at night and convince ourselves that we're nothing and nothing we ever do is good enough. The fire stolen by Prometheus is not without danger. It can sever the restraints placed on us, but it can burn wildly and out of control if not used properly. For a fire to burn tenaciously, it must be constantly attended and given some boundary where it can burn optimally. A tenacious fire refuses to be put out, which means it needs a steady stream of fuel, our creativity. Too much fuel will create a large fire that quickly consumes everything around it and eventually itself when there's nothing left to consume. Think of burnout. You might have all these great ideas and you might work hard and really, really work hard, but the more you do that, the more chance you have of burning out. The light might shine very brightly for a short amount of time, but optimally speaking, we want that light to be consistent. So, too much fuel creates a fire that burns too hot and runs out of fuel. Too little fuel will never create the ambition or the friction needed to follow through with the act of creation. That's the chorus. So it says, become your own Prometheus. Use the flame to burn the tether from the overseer. Tame the flame to burn tenacious. So there is, like I said, restriction and limitations within specific boundaries. You can think of it like this: an artist who has a canvas in front of him or her. There are numerous amounts of different canvases, of different mediums, of different brushes, of different this and that. So there's so much that you could do to create something. But if you're only focusing on, should I use this brush? Should I use that paint? Should I use that canvas? What size should this be? Should I mix these colors? Oh, maybe I should use this brush. The act of creation never happens. But if you restrict or you limit it, you say, okay, I'm going to use these two colors, these two brushes, and this one canvas and see what I can do. And you can do anything just with those few things. The creation, the act of creation, is coming from that divine source. The tools and the mediums are just a means to an end. So I don't know where I was going. Limitations. Limitations and boundaries are therefore necessary. And I think this is a great metaphor for uh, the difference between the archetype of Saturn, which we talked about last week, and the archetype of Uranus, which is related to the myth of Prometheus. Boundaries, restrictions, and limitations meeting that edge of freedom, liberation, and creative divine spark. It's, I think maybe, I don't know if I'll find a song that talks about both. Actually, yes, there is another Puscifer song that talks about both. Maybe we'll do that next week. Because Saturn and Uranus have a very special connection between them, um, because it talks about the end of what you can see and the beginning of what can be intuited. That's all I'll say about that aspect for now. Um, the second verse says that we've misused our divine spark. Our prime directive in life, from the Promethean perspective, is to create. So he says, prime directive violated, still reverberates, puppeteering every action, guides your words and ways. So, if from the Promethean perspective, our prime directive is to engage with the divine will and to create, then we have to ask ourselves, what are we creating? What is being created? What are we focusing on? Well, I see a lot of I see a lot of good and a lot of bad. I think I focused when I was writing this, I was maybe feeling a little bit more cynical, but cheap food, cheap plastic toys, expensive and useless face and body surgery, products meant to make money rather than offer real solutions or practicality, churned out music that offers little to no substance, and the list goes on. So when Maynard says our prime directive has been violated, he recognizes that we can be doing so much more to create a beautiful and harmonious life. If only we could remember that we are sovereign, divine beings that are capable of way more good than we allow ourselves. Despite the violation, the soul and the divine spark still lead us toward awakening. The archetypes that make up the fabric of the unconscious universe still lead our souls to fulfillment. This is to say, we are not doomed, and that the universe still has plans for us, even if we refuse to see it. That's the brilliant thing about all of this. At the very least, we are still given the divine spark of creation, and there are many that heed its calling to create what we are meant to create with the minuscule amount of time that we have been given here. So, there's just so much to it. I'll just continue reading. In astrology, there is no planet for Prometheus, but the archetypal patterns and energies of Prometheus are best associated with the planet Uranus. The author Richard Tarnas wrote a beautiful essay about Prometheus, the Awakener, and how those themes correspond much better to the astrological correspondences of Uranus than that of its namesake, Oranos, which is the original sky god. Uranus is the great liberator and was discovered during a time when the world was going through major transformations. Uranus was discovered in 1781, smack dab in the middle of the American Revolution and right before the beginning of the French Revolution. Uranus is associated with creative genius, divine insight, sudden breakthroughs, and drastic upheavals. Think of how drastically the humans would have changed after being given the divine fire. Think of how drastically our Western world changed after the Declaration of Independence from Britain and the horrific Reign of Terror. Or the drastic changes that came with the Industrial Revolution, which was taking place at the exact same time. Coincidence? No. The call of the personal Prometheus is a call toward discovering the creative genius that is within all of us. Think of the way the world can change if we all recognize the sovereignty in all of us and worked together to keep the divine flame burning in harmony. We are in need of a drastic change like this, and the current transits of Uranus in the sky right now indicates that there might be a good opportunity to do so. So, there's probably more I can say about this, but I think that this kind of encapsulates the main message of the archetype that's presented here in this song. And what a great message. Become your own Prometheus. Be the titan that steals the fire from the gods and offers it to humanity. Be the thing that allows yourself to be creative, to be open to divine will, to express that divine will. Even if you do it haphazardly, like me and my stuttering ass to you guys on this camera. So, um, next week, like I said, I already have a song in mind that kind of bridges the two, so I think we'll go into that. It's another Puscifer song, and you know, I really love doing this. I don't know any other astrologers that go through this and that do the music aspect of it in this way. It's very Pythagoras, talking about the heavenly spheres and the music of the spheres. So I really enjoy doing this, and I hope you guys enjoy it very much too. If there's something that you believe has really deep archetypal significance and symbolism, please leave it in the comments and let me know, and I will prioritize that over my own list. So we can kind of learn and grow together, and I can experience some new things, and think about things that I haven't thought about before. So I very much look forward to that. Again, I'm Reverend Hope, and I look forward to seeing you next time. If I forgot the plug, if you enjoyed this content, please give it a like, please subscribe, and look forward to more, hopefully, very exciting, interesting, introverted, kind of weird, geeky content. Thank you. Bye bye.